We're going to get started. Hi everyone, I'm Annika Quinn. I'm the editor-in-chief of Western Living magazine. We've been here all week for Western Living Design Week, and today I am talking with Megan Baker of the Cross Interior Design. She's going to talk to us about designing your bedroom. Something no doubt all of us have, and something that we all think about to make it approachable and warm and a place that we want to spend time in. To start with, why don't we talk just a little bit about you? What is your background? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I've worked at a couple of firms, and now I'm here at the Cross. So it's been a few years, also mixed with school.
Better.
Can we hear? Yes? Okay. So a couple of years from school and now into the interior design department at the Cross. So it's a store. It started out as a furniture store and then was able to grow into kind of multi-dimensional and be able to have us in a design department. So it's great because we want to do homes from the start right down to the very finish, like down to the styling and down to the bedding and all of these finer details that people are really looking for help with.
Okay. Well, let's start when you're planning a bedroom. So
Yes.
You're starting to think about what you want your bedroom to look like. Where do you start? What pieces should you be considering?
I think most people would say you should start with the bed, but actually I might go another way and think about the storage as something that you need, because everyone's house is going to be a different size. So if you know that you're in a tight space and you need a lot of storage, start there, because that way you're not going to end up with clutter everywhere. And then I would also start with something that you love. So maybe a piece of artwork, maybe you have a great duvet that's already your favorite, or a pillow. Choose one piece that you know you want to have for sure, and then you can start building the other pieces from there. Lots of storage beds exist, so if you do need extra space, then maybe it's a good idea to look at something that lifts up, or something that has drawers, something that even can have storage in the headboard. So that's a good way to start narrowing in on your options.
Okay. Everybody loves the look of a hotel-style bed. Can you talk about what it is you would need to create that at home?
The hotel-style bed, it is such a classic.
Yeah.
It's white. The bedding is always all white, very crisp and beautiful. And I think that's where the attention to the linens themselves can make it not only look like a hotel-style bed, but also feel that way. So if you start with that white base, it's also easy to layer and add other patterns, other colors, and other textures later on as your taste may change.
Okay. I wonder too, when you're talking about the whites, talking about sheets, everybody always wants to know about thread count. So when you're out buying sheet sets, how important is thread count? What does it actually mean? How should you be buying those sheets?
How do we break it down?
Yeah.
Thread count is actually probably the least important part when you're choosing sheets. That's why we've all been maybe to kind of a Winners store or something else, and you can see super high thread counts, like 650, 850, but the feel of the sheet is actually not that nice. So that's because what's most important is the cotton itself. So the best cotton, and the cotton that you want to go with, comes from Egypt and then is woven in Italy. That's kind of the dream team if you're looking for bedding. Those are the two things that you need to find. The thread count itself is only more or less of those threads per inch on your bed. So if they're bad threads, you don't actually want more of them. That's not going to be more comfortable. I would say go for the good threads first, and then you can kind of play with thread count a little bit to keep within a budget and get a different feel. These ones, what do I have here? So our bedding here is only 200 thread count. So that can kind of help get rid of that misconception, is that the higher the number doesn't actually make a better sheet or not, because these ones are the type of cotton and the weave that we want, so you can get away with a 200 thread count.
Okay. What about storing sheets? So let's say we've got your linen closet, you've got whatever. Are there particular ways you should be storing sheets to make sure that they're properly protected?
Yes, I was actually just chatting about something else new on the way in. Make sure that before you fold and store your sheets, take them out of the dryer and let them cool just a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes, so that there's for sure no moisture left. So it's important to just spread them out on the bed without making the bed and make sure that there's no moisture before folding and storing. And another really cool trick to be able to store the bedding to make it look nice and tidy, I learned this from Martha Stewart when I was a kid, is that she folds the bedding set. So you'll have a flat sheet, a fitted sheet, sometimes a duvet cover, maybe you use the same duvet cover in different sheets, pillow shams and pillowcases. She folds that all up together except for one pillowcase and then tucks it inside the case.
Oh, nice.
I know, I thought it was a good trick.
Yeah.
So then if you have a space where you're keeping all of your linens in the same linen closet, you can fold them up, put them in their cases, and stack them really beautifully. That way it's not going to all topple over. You don't have the ends of the fitted sheet sticking out, because everybody, I think, struggles with that happening.
Fitted sheets are the worst.
Yeah, they are. There is actually a way you can fold them, though, and get the corners to behave how we want them to behave. I can show you if you want. I have
sure.
this one.
Okay. Do you want me to hold your mic?
Sure.
Okay. I'll try to hold it close.
So not beautifully folded. It's just the way it is. It did come out of the package, so I cheated and left half.
Okay.
But the key here, I'll kind of do it backwards so that you can see. From here, all of the corners are together so that it actually still makes 90. And then you can just fold this how you'd fold a normal sheet. So how you get there is by tucking each corner into the other corner. So if I were to unfold this, this is the inside seam, right? And it had been matched up with the other inside seam in here. Oops, sorry, just take you out while we're folding the sheet. It's actually best to do this on a table or something like that. And then here's our fourth corner. So if you just pulled this off your bed, just kind of get your finger and put it right here at the corner seam. Get your other corner right here at the seam and tuck them together and over. So then you can hold this and pretend it's the corner of the sheet as you keep folding. You do it again on the other side. So we have the corners together already. Hold the corner so that now it's got more of an edge. And then fold it. So this is just half of it, but there, you can see how that would behave properly as you're trying to kind of corral this into the linen cabinet.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
It doesn't happen every time I fold the sheets, but it's good to know that it's possible.
Why don't we talk about down a little bit? Taking care of down. Is there anything you need to think about with your down duvets as you've got them stored or on your bed? What do you need to think about?
Yeah, they do need a little more care than I think most of us give them. So what you're putting inside all of these beautiful sheets and linens is equally as important as the linen themselves. And down is pretty amazing. It's a very resilient material, so it can be washed and dried at home in your own machines. And I don't think that we all probably do that enough. So a pillow insert, for example, that could be washed once a month, and that's probably a good way to maintain the loft, which is the depth of the pillow, and also keep any kind of like little dust mites and things will get in there. We're using our pillows all the time, so there's just a lot of potential for germs and bacteria.
Okay.
But if they're washed frequently, down can last for decades, like 15, 20 years before you really have to do anything with it.
And is it a particular temperature, particular type of soap, anything like that?
Yes, hot. So for sheets and bedding themselves, like the covers, that should all be washed in hot water. Soap, you can kind of go with your machine because everybody's got a little bit of a different machine. So if it's high efficiency, go with that. If you like a particular smell, go with that. But just don't put too much in. That's probably the tip. So number one, on the little cups that come with the dish, with the laundry soap, is all you actually need. If you start putting too much soap in, especially when washing the down, it doesn't rinse out. So then that starts to take away from the softness. And if you've spent all this time to go and choose the Egyptian-Italian combo of your bedding, it's not going to be very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, and then drying, same thing, always on a hot heat. And for pillows, make sure they fit in your washing machine. You can probably get 2 into most washing machines. If you have extra large pillows or a Eurosham, just do 1 at a time. And then dry them twice. So not just 1 cycle, but do another. Because of the same thing, if there's any moisture left in them, then that's only going to add mold into the pillow instead of take it away, which is what we were trying to do.
Right. Okay. What about for those people that are allergic to down? What kind of alternatives do you recommend?
There are alternatives to down, but something that a lot of people don't know is that most of us aren't allergic to down. So there are 2 different fills that we'll actually get in down pillows, and one of them is feather. So if you're looking at a pillow that's down and it's quite a low price point, you can expect that it's a blend, so down and feather. And feathers contains tons of allergens. They're much harder to clean to get into this pillow, and that's what people are really allergic to. Because if we're thinking about a bird, the feathers are on the outside, and that's meant to protect the bird. So there's a lot of oils, there's lots of bacteria, they're meant to kind of hold things off of it, and the down is actually meant to act as insulation. So that's what we want. That's why we're putting it in the pillows and the duvets, to stay warm or even stay cool. If you have a really high quality down, it can control based on the outdoor temperature.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the look of the bed. Throw pillows, putting shams and throw pillows on the bed. Is there a perfect number? Is there the amount that you need to have to make it look nice?
You know, this one's funny because I think everybody has their line, and when you are extremely tired and you just want to hop into bed, like trying to find your bed in a mountain of pillows is not always ideal. If you want to go for a hotel style, next time you're staying at a hotel, just take a look and see what they have. They usually include a Euro sham, so a Euro pillow and the sham, and that's this size here. You can hold it up together. Yeah. They're big. So it's usually a perfect square in some fashion, and this is a good layer to have if you spend a lot of time maybe sitting up and reading in bed, or like using it on a weekend morning and relaxing. This is good because it will hold you up and you don't have to lean into a headboard that might not be super comfortable. So I would go 2 of these, 2 regular size sleeping pillows. So there's one in that bag there. They're your standard ones. And maybe a range between 1 and 3 accent pillows. Okay. And I think that's kind of the max. Personally, a more modern way to style it right now would be not this. Okay. It would be 2 sleeping pillows. So for each person, if you have a queen size bed, you're going to end up with 4. Stack them horizontally, and then you can kind of add from there, like something in this shape. Have to fluff it up from sitting on it. Something in this shape, and maybe you do just 1 in the middle. It's really modern and clean, but you can still add some texture and some color, whatever you want to with this. If you wanted to go maybe 1 step further, then I would go for 2 of these, so 1 side by side, and then there's a little guy beside you. I love this pillow. You could put this right in the middle, so you kind of have a white layer of your regular pillows. 2 of these and 1 of these, and then I would stop.
Okay.
You don't want it to get too crazy.
Right. And should you be using non-sleeping shams on your pillows that you're going to sleep on that you remove, or what kind of covers are you putting on them?
That's a good question, because I think there is a school of thought that would do that. I don't usually do that.
Okay.
What I have is the 2 sleeping pillows, and you can put a pillowcase on those. So a pillowcase is just open on one end. It's kind of our standard thing. And then on the second pillow that goes above that, that's kind of what would protect it from dust, or if you're hanging out in your bed without sleeping. And then you put a sham on that. So they usually open from the back with some buttons, and you put a regular sleeping size pillow in that case. So then when I go to bed, I usually just flip them. and then I end up sleeping on the sleeping pillow, but you still have the support of both pillows.
Okay. Okay. Why don't we talk a little bit about organization in the bedroom, and what are some of your ideas around that? What should we be thinking now? How should we be thinking that way?
How should we be thinking? Well, actually, as we discuss the accent pillows, that is a good lead into the organization, because what do you do with them once you're getting in bed?
Yeah.
Occasionally I just fling them off and they stay there, but that's not really the best way to go. A good idea would be to you could have a gorgeous basket, maybe something that's more traditional, like a woven basket, or something cool and felt, even anything, any material. I've been seeing them all over the place. A wooden kind of big basket bowl. That'd be something great if you have a little room in your bedroom to be able to put those pillows there, so that if the bed doesn't get made the next day, the pillows still look good.
Right.
They're still adding to your space.
Okay.
So that can be helpful for kind of transient storage. But then if you need something a little more serious, beds come with a lot of storage now. So you can find beds where the mattress actually lifts up, and it's on a hydraulic system, so it's not heavy at all. You can just kind of lift it up with one finger and then store much bigger items in there. It's a perfect spot to actually store winter bedding. So heavy blankets or heavier duvets can go right in there with no problem, and you don't have to get them every day. What else are good storage solutions? It's a good idea at the end of the bed. A lot of people will have a bench or something that can kind of be used as seating, kind of be used to toss your clothes on, but you can get them with storage as well. So that's another great spot to keep things that maybe you don't need every single day. And what else? I've seen some really sneaky ones. Actually at IKEA, they have a headboard and it has storage in the sides. So it's maybe I think 8 to 10 inches deep, and there's kind of these little mini shelves that fit reading books perfectly.
Okay.
So I think that's something that maybe we'll start to see in all kinds of furniture, or you could have custom built into anything you like.
Right. Okay. What about some of the things you have here? What would you be using these little boxes for?
Yeah, these are more for storage that is the items that you need every day. So stuff that's beside the bed and kind of collects there. Here, it's always a good idea to have a tray. I think I can swing holding this up. Yeah, so you can see. A tray is a really good way to keep books looking organized. I don't know about everybody else, but mine pile up because I'll start reading a book, then I get another book that I want to read, and so they're all going at one time.
Right.
So even a messy pile of books would look better on a tray than on nothing. I think it can also encourage that to keep happening. So if you have a tray, you have one book on it, you're more likely to put your other book there as well. And it just keeps your space looking a little more planned, a little less clutter.
Okay.
And I think that makes it easier to sleep. 'Cause
Okay.
subconsciously, you know that it's crazy even though your eyes are closed.
Right. Quiet, calm space.
Exactly. So
Right.
that's definitely something that's helpful to have, and you can kind of put anything on it. This is a box, so you can get beautiful decorative boxes from most home stores. Will have something like this. Opens up. So this is perfect if you have anything that's storage, you maybe don't need it every single day. Maybe you can put some lip balm in here. Could have the phone, maybe, not if you're using it as an alarm because it's a little harder to get to. Hair elastics, jewelry, watches, bobby pins, all those kind of little things that end up there beside your bed.
Okay. And what about things like charging your iPhones and iPads and all that sort of stuff? How do you deal with all of that kind of clutter?
I know, that's actually a constant struggle because we know that we're not supposed to even have those items with us beside our bed, but the reality is, beside my bed, there's always a computer, an iPad, and a phone.
Right.
I probably don't need all those three there all the time,
Right.
but that's where they end up. So we have to find ways to store them and maybe keep them just a little bit farther away from us so that every message doesn't wake you up. I even know some people that will put them in the bed, and I think we need to not do that. That has to stop happening. It's so bad for you.
Okay.
So something that I thought could be great is this. If you have a little vase or candle holder, just something really, it could be in any style, a phone can easily just be dropped in there so that it's not out, it's not going to creep right beside you, but you can still use it as an alarm, because I think that's a reality for most of us.
Right.
iPads and computers, I would really recommend keeping them on a tray. It's convenient because they're kind of the size of books and magazines now, so they'll stack nicely, they'll be a little bit neater. And then in terms of charging, you can get some bedside tables pre-done, or you could have it custom made so that the back has holes just like a media unit. That way you can keep all of your cords plugged in all the time, because usually we need to charge stuff overnight, and then just have it subtly be popped up beside your bed so that you can attach whichever device needs to be charged. Ideally, if possible, I think it's a good idea to charge those things outside of the bedroom, because any little light can really disrupt sleep, and I think that's going to start coming up to be a little more dangerous than we realize.
Right. Speaking of light, what about lighting in the bedroom? What are some of the things you need to think of when you're planning for lighting in the bedroom?
The good kind of lighting, not the
not
technology
the kind that
lighting.
keeps you awake.
Well, there are a few different factors in a room. So we need a variety of layers of lighting, because you want to have a bright light for the morning if you're waking up, getting dressed, getting ready. There's also a light that's in between, like a reading light, something that's directly at you beside your bed for reading, or if you have separate seating in your bedroom as well. We also have natural light to control in the bedroom. So that's going to be changing, of course, throughout the times of day, but then you'll also have different considerations. Some people need pitch black to sleep and others don't. So we'll have some layers to consider there. And then you'll want some nice ambiance occasionally too. So candles are always a good option. I say candles, but I actually mean maybe just one or two.
Okay.
If it gets a little bit too crazy, then that's not going to be helpful.
Right.
So it's really important to make sure you do have some nice bright overhead lighting. It can be tricky because you and I were discussing earlier that the building trend is not to have an overhead light that works on a switch when you walk into your space. So I think it's still important to maybe consider, if you're building your own home, definitely add that option, so necessary. If not, I think we should be looking at floor lamps to be able to get that same kind of overall lighting, and maybe something that's got a more high watt bulb. Then when you get to bedside and reading lights, make sure you go for something like that's a 30. 60 can be a little bit bright because you're probably trying to get ready to transition into sleeping. So we should be taking our lighting levels down with that. So you could use any kind of great bedside lamps. It's nice to have something that has a shade because that would soften it a lot. But then there are cool options here as well. I brought one. I'm going to take the light bulb out of here so that you can see, because exposed bulbs have been trending for quite a while, and they look good in a bedroom, but they can be a little bright. So this one, you can see that it has been painted on the top, and it's perfect because that really can still give you quite a cool industrial look, but it tones down the lighting a lot.
Right.
Just tuck it back in there.
We've been talking a lot as well about warm metals and how strong they are right now. So even this, as a color palette in the bedroom, having this kind of metal accent would be quite popular.
Yeah, it would definitely be popular, and I think that's where it's important to make sure that the level of lighting you're getting is exactly what you want just before choosing a fixture that's really on trend.
Right.
But this one is great, and warm metals are nice because you could mix it like I did here with some cool metals as well. So that will help with everybody who's using the room. Everyone can kind of get their taste in there, and it doesn't have to be too feminine or too masculine either way.
Okay. I think there's a few other things that you have brought that we haven't been able to get to yet.
I know.
You've got a couple pieces over here. Do you want to talk about them?
Yes, let's talk about that. As we were on storage, there's something else sitting over here with the magazines in it. That's another good way to be able to store books or magazines. Most of us probably have some kind of holder. That one's kind of cool because you can actually see the covers.
Right.
But there are other ones that even you would use in an office, like just a simple holder. They come in tons of different styles, and that is a good way to corral magazines, books, like even your computer can fit into those. An iPad would fit in there as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's helpful. It just keeps it stacked, keeps it from being spread all over the place.
Yeah.
What else do we have over there? Oh yeah, an area rug like this one. That's one of my favorite accessories to add into a room. It doesn't take up any space. I don't think everybody thinks it's a necessity, But when you're using the space, it really adds another layer of warmth there. So when you first get out of bed, it's nice to put your feet on a nice area rug. Before you transition, maybe you have a colder floor, or you're headed right into the bathroom where you got tile. So it's a good idea to have an area rug there.
Okay.
Plus you can go crazy or not crazy, whichever style your room is, with the texture and pattern of the rug.
Okay.
It also works if you want to use a runner. So maybe it's not in the budget to have a huge area rug to go all the way under the bed, but you could use a runner that sticks out on both sides for both people, and it's something that's a little more unique and a little more budget friendly.
Right. Nice. I know we've only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to see if there were any questions in the audience. Yeah? The question was around in a bedroom, is how important is wall color? So can you have a different colored wall? Do you have to worry about what color it is?
Color can actually be kind of a fun choice to make for the room. All white is a very classic look. We'll often see all white space, all white bed, very hotel chic. But something that is trending a lot more right now, and I think it works really well in a bedroom, is to go for a much darker space. So you could use kind of a jewel tone, like dark emerald green or a dark navy blue, even a black. And using that on all walls can make it feel really cozy. It's a nice way to still get something monochromatic, so it might not feel as shocking as if you just do one wall in a color. That could be a little more shocking than just going for the color overall.
Okay.
It's a good idea too to play with the sheen of a paint color in a bedroom. So I've seen some done before. They're almost like a plaster, but it's very high gloss. So you get kind of texture and gloss. And I thought that was an interesting way to go if you're choosing a jewel tone. It looked really luxurious, really rich, and an all white bed would pop nicely from there. But then alternately, I think matte is also really an interesting concept to use for a bedroom because it kind of keeps the light really diffused no matter what color you choose or what else you have going on in the space.
Okay.
But that would look good in a black.
Yeah, nice. I love that, a black bedroom. Another one. Yeah? Oh, what about dealing with the TV? So where do you place it so it doesn't look terrible, that sort of idea?
Right, because the worst thing to see is an all white room, an all white bed, and then a giant black box straight across from the bed.
Right.
Personally, I would try to go away from having a TV in the bedroom. Lots of us do, and that's no problem. So I would consider a built-in unit in the best case scenario. If you have the luxury to be able to get something custom done, it'd be great. Across the wall from where the bed is, you could totally build it in, have your TV there behind doors, behind artwork, very similar to how you would treat it in a living space. Could also go for an armoire. That's really good for storing linens and everything that we've kind of been talking about, and also have your TV there. That way you don't have to look at it if you're not using it. You just close the doors and forget it's there. I've also done for some clients recently that had a TV previously mounted in their room. It was just kind of sticking out like it was in the middle of nowhere. So it's a good idea to put a dresser or a console, something that you already need for extra storage, right underneath it, and then treat it as if it were in a living room. So style that dresser and make sure that it looks like a cohesive vignette. And that just keeps it being a little more subtle.
Nice. Great. Any last questions? Okay, well, thank you so much, and a huge thank you to Megan Baker from the Cross Interiors for joining us today. We have talks continuing for the next few days. If you want to come back and join us, the schedule is just over here. Thanks very much.